Have you ever considered how emotional readiness that is cultivated alongside practical measures can play out when an unexpected incident happens? That reminded me of something that happened a few months ago when one of my babies actually called me. She was on a date with a guy that was starting to make her feel very uncomfortable. So she gave me a call. We usually call it what is called a rescue mission. She gave me a call using some of the coded words that we have pre-agreed on, and we had to go pick her up from that date. That brought my mind back to the pandemic that happened between 2019 and 2020. That opened our eyes to how being unprepared can negatively impact lives, daily living, as well as the economy. That is why I'll be giving you 7 short steps today to help you create a personal incident response plan. Now, an incident response plan is actually an established strategy that helps to address unanticipated, or should I use the word anticipated, potential problems even before they arise. Let's look at the first step. The first step is that you need to identify all possible incidents. Now, these incidents can include technology failures such as a cyber attack or even data loss. The second incident that you should actually look at when you're looking at potential incidents is what I have referred to as a biological incident. These are incidents such as a pandemic, an epidemic, or bioterrorism. The fact that the pandemic happened during that period is what is referred to as a biological incident. Now, another incident you should also consider is natural disasters. For people that are experiencing the disasters, hurricanes, as well as earthquakes at this point in time, those are natural disasters. Another one is criminal incidents. Now, criminal incidents such as a robbery attack or a kidnapping incident. When that happens, what should you do? Another incident you should look at and consider is what is referred to as domestic emergencies. This can include a gas leak, a fire incident, and the last one is a financial crisis. Those are all the incidents that you should consider before you start to create your personal incident response plan. Now, the second step I would like you to do is to do an evaluation of each possible incident and the impact it can have on your home, your family, as well as your livelihood if it happens. Then I want you to prioritize each of these incidents based on the potential impacts that you feel it is going to have on your life. The third step, I need you to be prepared. Now, what this means is that it is essential for you to make preparations towards each possible incident. Now, let me give you some possible things that you could actually do in order to be prepared. The first thing I want you to know is that you need to always back up your contacts and important data on a regular basis. You can use a what is called an external hard disk, or some people will call it a portable hard disk, and you can even put some of them in the cloud. Now, the second step and the second thing I need you to note about being prepared is that you should get what is called a UPS. I know we used to have a UPS in Africa at that time, but it's not something that is very popular in North America, considering the fact that light is stable. But I want you to understand that an uninterrupted power supply, where you have it as a backup for your electronic devices, it is much more than what is called the backup. It is going to be a lot of help and will ensure that your devices are stable. Now, the third thing I want you to know about being prepared is that you should get a generating set. Now, saying this, a lot of people will start laughing, probably because they only use generating sets for camping and stuff like that. But you should note that a generating set is an emergency tool in case of a possible blackout. Believe me, it is something that even if you don't use in 20 years, it's still important for you to have it. Now, the next thing I want you to note is that you should have a mobile hotspot. Now, this is extremely important, especially if you are one of those people that works from home. That is, you work remotely or you have a business. There may be some instances that your internet service can actually go off. You are going to rely on a mobile hotspot. The next thing I want you to know about being prepared is that if you have a website for your business or probably your personal services, I know some people have what is called personal blogs or even personal services for some of the things that they are doing. If you have like what is called a website for it, I want you to ensure that you buy a service from your hosting provider that comes with backup services. All right, I'm going to say it again. Buy a plan that comes with backup services from your hosting provider. This ensures that in case there is a problem, or something corrupts, or there's an error, or probably during one of the updates something goes wrong, like I said, is an incident response plan. In case something goes wrong, you always have something else to rely on. Now, I want you to also note that when you are going to be prepared, you need to always keep your software and your apps constantly updated. Now, this is going to be the last one. In Be Prepared, I want you to understand something about emergency funds. Emergency funds is more than rainy day funds. It is what is referred to as a safety net. I will advise that you have some certain amount of cash at home, not only apart from your rainy day fund, or what is going to call your safety net, your financial safety net. I will advise that you have some specific amounts at home. And we've had instances that we've encountered situations when digital and financial transactions were not possible. So at that point in time, we could only do what is called cash transactions. I'm not talking of a lot of money. Sometimes $10 is cash that will simply save the day. So ensure that you make an habit of having some cash at home as part of your rainy day fund, or what is called emergency safety net when it comes to financial services. Now, for the fourth step, I want you to put response strategies in place. Ensure you put response strategies in place. Now, when I'm talking about response strategies, I want you to ensure that basic cybersecurity measures are in place. We've talked about a lot of cybersecurity measures during this period that I know that you've got to understand, and you know what is going on. All right. If I'm not going to go back on that, you can go back to some of my videos to go check some of the basic cybersecurity measures I need you to put in place. Now, the second thing I want you to understand about response strategies is that you should know and understand quick evacuation routes. In case there is a problem, in case there is an emergency, look for all the evacuation routes, not only in your home, your office, your church, anywhere that you know and you understand that you go to regularly. Understand and know where all the quick evacuation routes are. Now, the third thing I want you to know about putting response strategies in place is that you need to develop what I will call escape codes. Just like the lady I said called a few months ago, you need to understand that there should be languages, there should be words that may sound like everyday words to anyone else that is listening, but for your family members or your loved ones or people that are around you, that you have come to a pre-agreed notion, or what is called a pre-agreed words, they are a cry for help. Very, very important. Now, the fourth thing I want you to know about putting response strategies in place is that you need to ensure that everybody in your family, they all know the telephone number of at least one family member by heart. I'm going to say that again. Ensure that everyone in the family, even when they are kids, they know the telephone number of at least one family member by heart. The next thing I want you to know about putting response strategies in place is that I want you to always have your health insurance details and a list of emergency contacts accessible at every point in time. If you have to put them in your wallet, please do. If you have to write them somewhere, please do. But it is extremely important that you have them accessible at every point in time. Now, another thing I want you to know about that is the fact that if you use what is called an iPhone, if you use an iPhone has a facility where you can actually assign medical emergency tags to your emergency contacts or people that are close to you. Please ensure that you use that facility. Now, the next thing I want you to know about what is called response strategies is that ensure that your family members, especially your teenage kids, they always have their share my location facility on their phones enabled. Believe me, it is a lifesaver. Ensure that happens, especially when they are going to be spending time with their friends. Number 5, the 5th step I want you to know is that you need to create a communication plan and establish how it should be followed during an emergency or during an incident. Create a communication plan and establish how it should be followed. Now, let me tell you what you should do in this case. You should make sure that a list of important contacts that are not only accessible but are added to your favorites. When I say favorites, there is a portion of your phone that talks about your favorites. So people call it what is called the speed dial. Ensure that you add them to your favorites apart from having it on your speed dial, because you need to note that apart from your last call that was dialed or that was received, when there is an emergency, the next place that the cops will look into is your favorites. Number 6 on the steps that you need to take when creating a personal incident response plan, I want you to constantly review your incident response plan regularly. Even once a quarter is advisable. Once a quarter is good. And I don't want you to just review it. You need to review it. You need to update it. Then you need to practice the different scenarios, especially when it comes to things like rescues, evacuations, fire drills, and data recovery. All right, you need to do that on a constant basis, because it helps when there is an emergency. You don't have to think about it because it's already something that you have already done or you're already used to. Now, the last step I want you to note is that it is important for all members of your family to be educated on how to keep themselves safe, as well as the emergency procedures they have to follow. You need to know that the holiday season is gradually creeping in. I want you to learn to stay safe, stay secure, and stay free from threats. Until I see you in my next video, don't forget to subscribe and follow for more content.